Hey everyone, it's Andrew Brown, and we are here at the Free Gen AI Bootcamp. I'm joined by our guest instructor, Brian, as we are going to be developing an application here for our week 1 or week 2, depending if you count from 0, bootcamp. And so, in this session, I want to see if we can build out our Lang portal, or not Lang portal, but our Lang importer. But before we talk about that, I want to give Brian an opportunity to introduce himself to our bootcampers. And so I'll hand it over to you there, Brian.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Brian Hough. I am from Boston. It is very cold where I am. Very, very chilly. It was like 13 degrees yesterday, so I'm still thawing out.
Mhm.
But I would say I'm really excited for this boot camp. I'm really excited that Andrew is creating this. I think Gen AI skills are like hands down. Any developer needs to know these things. So I love the whole like open source education. I got into this space through open source projects and hackathons. So this is very close to my heart. And that goes back about like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So I've been coding since then. I am a very proud ex-AWS community builder. That's really how I got the start working in the cloud and building applications like what we're going to be building today. And I became an AWS hero a year ago. So I've been really loving building a lot of like advanced cloud architectures and just like hacking around and learning how to build stuff. So that's what I do with Tech Stack Playbook. So I make a lot of content on YouTube, and then I also do a lot of work for clients. So yeah, excited to be here, and thank you, Andrew, for having me. Excited to build
Cool.
with you.
Awesome. And yeah, so today we're going to be building in Azure. I'm just joking, but wouldn't that be
Oh
a
boy.
funny loop? I mean, hey, we can. I'm okay with it, but I'm going to go just ahead and share my screen, and I want to just get boot campers prepped here to see what we're jumping into first, and then I'm going to hand it over to Brian to drive our development here today. So the vocab importer, the business goal here is that we want to I'll just read it. The prototype of the language learning app is built, but we need to quickly populate the application with word and word groups so students can begin testing the system. There is currently no interface for manually adding words or word groups, and the process would be too tedious. You've been asked to create an internal facing tool to generate vocabulary. And when I say internal facing, that means it can be ugly. It just has to be functional. Be able to export the generated vocab to JSON later for import. We'll talk about why in just a moment. Be able to import JSON files, which the system already does, but it'd be nice if this app, if as a stretch goal, if we can get it to do it. So the technical restrictions, since this is an internal facing tool, the fractional CTO wants you to use an app prototyping framework like Gradio, Streamlit, Fast HTML. What we're going to show you here today is dealer's choice. So Brian can use whatever you want. I put Gradio, Streamlit, Fast HTML here for boot campers because these things are like dead simple to use. But we might use something a little bit more complex here to kind of show you what you might use beyond that. And then you can use whatever LLM you want, a serverless managed LLM API or a local model, however you need to get it to work. DeepSeek doesn't matter to me. Google Gemma, or Gemini or Gemma, which is very popular. But I think Brian is very much liking Grok, which is a managed serverless API that serves up open source models, but it's really, 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 really fast, really fast, and it has a very generous free tier, so it's perfect for this boot camp. But anyway, I'm just going to pull up the Lang portal application here. I do believe I have it running, but to get it running, I'm going to just stop it here for a second, just so people can see it. But it's not really important to get this running for this thing. But if we want to do it, we do Python app on the backend side. We'll do npm run dev on the front end side. But the database has to be imported, so we have an invoke initdb, and that will create a words.db. But what we're trying to generate out here, this is the C data that's getting loaded into our database. But we're trying to match this structure of outputted data. So here is a bunch of adjectives that go into a word group called adjectives. This one's a bunch of verbs. And so that is what we're trying to output as our end goal here. But I'm gonna guide Brian through the technical requirements, and Brian's going to be the one that's going to be doing the implementation. So I'm going to get my screen out of the way here and let Brian go ahead and share his screen. Are we going to use any fancy Gen AI tools to generate out UI and do some exploratory tool checking?
Oh, absolutely. I thought that this would be an opportune time since it is a Gen AI boot camp for us to use some Gen AI tools. That'd be kind of lame if we were like, nah, we're gonna like code manually. What is this?
But I mean, it's not bad. I mean, often I switch back to manual coding, but it's kind of incidental. I don't even notice when I do that.
Yeah. I feel like it's helpful getting started. It's like once you have like repeatable frameworks, it's kind of like cloud formation, right? It's like for anybody who doesn't know cloud formation, those are like templates to make recipes to build cloud systems. So it's kind of like instead of you clicking in the console, like make this database, make this authentication system, you can just like write the same script and then just deploy it. So makes it really easy. But
Well, when you have your boilerplate, yeah, it's you don't end up leaning into it too much.
exactly. Okay, cool. I'm going to share a window. Let us see.
There we go. I'm going to bring up the screen here and we can see it. And we are over at v0.dev. So V0 is a product that is produced by Vercel, which is also the company that makes Next.js. I think that it's optimized specifically to produce Next.js code, but it's also really good at front-end React, so you don't necessarily have to use it for Next.js. And so I guess we kind of need some kind of interface. And so I'm thinking like, if this lang importer it generates a vocabulary, it'd be really nice if we could give it some human text to say, give me vocabulary for, you know, like tech words and whatever, and then it would generate out that information.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing is that we need to describe what our application is. Yeah. So give me, you know, a vocabulary language importer where we have a text field that allows us to that allows us to import a thematic category for the generation of, I know we're repeating words, but language vocabulary.
Mhm.
You know, the API you know, when submitting that text field, it should hit an API endpoint that would invoke. We could even tell it to say like go invoke an LLM in Grok. I'm not sure if it could do that, but it'd be really interesting to see what it could do. There's so many ways to write this, but we'll just do whatever here and we'll see what comes out.
So say like on the server side and then pass that information back to the front and this.
I guess one key thing that's really important is that it has to produce a structured JSON output. I haven't provided you the structure yet, but I guess I could provide it to you. I'm not sure if it would be too much for it, but I'm going to drop it here in the chat. I'm going to drop it in our
that'd be great.
in our StreamYard chat, which is always easy to find.
Perfect. Okay, I have that open.
Or if you can find, I never can find anything, but
okay, cool. So it has to create a structured JSON output like this example. The JSON that is outputted back to the front end should be copyable. So it should be sent to an input field, and there should be a copy button so that it can be copied to the clipboard, and that should give an alert that it was copied to the users.
And when it's done processing, it should make like a toaster ding sound. I'm just joking.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Toast, have you used Toast notifications? Those are always fun.
Oh, you mean just like in your UI?
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in 2005 or 6 when I was getting really into programming for Mac, it was like the rage to integrate with Toast.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's fun. Like the little like pop-up notifications. Okay, I think we've got everything. I did copy your instructions.
Sure, yeah.
So I think that makes sense, right? A lot of this I feel like is prompt. It's like prompt engineering because if you write a really good prompt, it sets the tone for everything
Oh,
else.
no, this is prompt engineering. Yeah, there's lots of ways to do it, but let's just hit it. Let's let it rip and see what happens.
I'm also going to copy this just so
Oh, that's
that
probably a good idea. Yeah.
if we want to use another AI tool, cough, 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 we can do that. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to. Oh, and then in terms of technical requirements, so the app should use app router and the latest version of Next.js, and the LLM calls should run in an API route on the server side. Okay, I think that should do it.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to upload this. Oh, it's thinking. Can we just talk about how cool this is? Like, we're living in the world of AI making. I could never have imagined this when I started learning how to code. This is nuts.
The question is are we going to see better apps or just more?
Oh, true. Like,
you know what I mean? Like
actually work
with all these. Well, no, I mean like with all these advancements, it really comes down to the people that build the stuff. And so, do we actually get better apps built out, or does it really come down to the individual? But another interesting thing is like people think that no one can build another social platform, like social developer platform, or just a social platform in general, but turns out like old ideas are always new, and until somebody builds it again and does a better job or gets everyone to use it, it always seems almost impossible. But we have our vocabulary language importer. We have a field that says generate vocabulary, but the question is, what does the backend look like? Did it finish?
Yeah. Well,
it
it finished, but it doesn't. So it's gonna have this like env local, but so I'm gonna go off screen because I don't. Does VO let you do secrets? I feel like the answer is no.
If you go to the left-hand side here, I'm just curious. If you scroll all the way down, did the Vercel finish? I can't tell sometimes unless you scroll all the way down. Yeah, it did. So we have the Grok API key, and you know what? If you're worried about it, I'll just give you my key because we can rotate these out anyway before the end of the video.
Oh no, I was just wondering like if we were to deploy this, I'm just wondering like is there a way to like give it secrets so that like when it deploys it could do that?
In Vercel there is, yeah, there's definitely a way to pass it, but I don't know what it utilizes. You could also just ask the prompt on the left-hand side if you wanted to publish to Vercel.
That's true. I want to be a little cognizant of like not keeping up token. I don't know how many tokens I have left, so I don't.
Not many.
Yeah, I feel like not a lot.
But maybe I'll go over to Claude and I'll go ask Claude real quick. Claude's our friend, right? And so I'm just gonna,
Claude, yeah.
And so I'll say for an application that is deployed to Vercel, is there a configuration file to load envars? Because I almost feel like it's going to tell us to do that somewhere else. Yeah, an example would make sense, but it says create a .env.local file for development, but most importantly, the production of Vercel. Okay, so it's saying that. So I'm going to ask it like, does the .env.local? I don't know. We can see what I'm writing here, but well, you know what? I can really just show my screen while I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Oh yeah, you don't even have to stop. We'll just flip between them. But
yeah, that's great.
Does the just reshare yours and it'll sit in the bottom there. But does the env local get committed to GitHub? Well, let's see what it says there. No, it should not be committed there. So we have .env.local. So I'm assuming that it's not going to get committed. But what we should do is maybe we'll bring back up your screen here. And before you put in your API key, I think we should do a quick test. So yeah, just when you get a moment there, pull back up your screen.
Okay, cool. Should I add my key now or
no? We'll add it afterwards because let's see if we can sync the repo to GitHub first or create one first, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah, because if it doesn't take the file over, then we know, right?
True. All right, share my screen. Share a window.
And so we'll bring this all the way back up here. And just before we even sync it, I'm just curious about the backend code. So we have utils, and you're going to have to help me because I'm not the best at Next.js, but utils LLM, I'm going to assume that contains our LLM code if we go into that. Oh
Yes.
yeah, there we go. Oh, does
Yeah.
it uses AI SDK? It's actually using is that the Vercel AI SDK?
I think so. Or do we get access to the package.json? I feel like it's like missing some stuff.
Let me
Like
check
you
a
don't
look
see
here.
everything in here, like
Oh,
the
okay.
node modules and stuff. So
Oh, okay. So, but AI SDK is Vercel. It's in the Gen AI Essentials. People are saying, Andrew, why didn't you cover you covered some things in Vercel, but you didn't cover the AI SDK. I didn't think it was that interesting, but now we're
mm,
covering it. So I've covered all bases here, but the
there
code
we go.
looks really good here.
Yeah.
It does ask for output of JSON. The only thing that I'm not sure if it will do is proper JSON output. Normally, structured
Right.
JSON is a real pain in the butt, but I'm really surprised that it has everything here. But maybe what we'll go do is publish this to GitHub. So one of those buttons up there, like there's publish and deploy. What if we click publish? Does that go to GitHub?
Put it to the
Mm,
to the community for users to view and use. All published iterations are subject to review.
no, not really what we want. That sounds more like a thing to share apps. But on the left hand side, there's like three buttons. What's the first one?
Oh, this is
Fork.
fork.
I think it forks it in this thing. So it's not going to like
Oh.
fork it to GitHub. It's just going to um, make another fork in this one. It's not a big deal. But what's the other tabs there? There's like a download and a third one. What's the other ones?
Yeah, there's download, there's share. Oh, so I guess that's like if I wanted to share it with you, like you could get
Hmm.
access to this chat.
So we say v0 sync to GitHub. Is that something it can do? How can I make a project from v0 to GitHub for anyone coming, install a fresh copy in Next.js, install the thing, add to codebase? You know what? I'm remembering this now. And I think last time I used it, what it did was it gave you something like a one line, it gave you like code that you could drop into your thing and it doesn't sync to GitHub. So let's go take a look at the download maybe in
Mm,
the top right corner here. Yeah, it did that. That's what it does. So basically, you initialize a new project and you do npx shat shen add, and it will do that stuff. I can't imagine bringing the backend code though. How does that make any sense? So maybe we should just download the zip. That
we could
might
do
be a
that, yeah.
safer bet. Yeah. It'll
And
be cool.
then
Do you have a favorite editor in particular?
I wanted to like see if we could like go into Bolt, like if we can like import it into Bolt, but I don't know if we can do that.
Probably not. Bolt is like it will generate the front. Like I don't know if it'll do the Next.js part, but it would just do the front end. But our front end's done. So
Yeah, let's do Code
probably
Sandbox because then we could like share it together. We could like
okay,
code.
sure.
Yeah.
Does it have a server attached to it too?
Yeah. We can do so we create we could do like off. Oh, actually, interesting. Maybe we could do.
I've never used it, so I'm excited to try out Code Sandbox.
Yeah, let's try app router. I'm gonna try like try this. So this will create basically a server for us to run our code, and
Okay.
then I think we can just upload the code here. But yeah, I've been using Code Sandbox and Replit quite a lot because you can actually run
What is the
Docker
other
dev
what's
boxes.
the other one there?
Oh, Replit?
Oh, Replit. Yeah. That's another one people keep bugging me to use. It's been around for
Yeah,
a long time, but I just never got into it, and I guess there's been more talk about it as of late.
yeah. They have a very cool AI assistant feature now in Replit, so you can like if you run into errors, you could ask your assistant to like help you code it out. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um, okay, cool. So we have our app now. If I
It looks like all
want,
the stuff we didn't see before are now here, eh?
yeah. Oh, this is really interesting. Okay, there was a lot of stuff that it did not share. That's interesting.
Like I don't see the this was in the zip. Oh,
Oh
there it
yeah,
is.
yeah. There's
There
a
it
lot
is.
of stuff in
Okay.
the zip. I need to like delete that. I want to
Oh, did
remove.
it put it inside of itself or something weird?
Yeah, I think I need to like bring it to the outside.
Okay.
So if I do that, yeah, do you want to replace it? Replace. Actually, I kind of want to replace everything.
Go for it.
Okay, we're living dangerously.
You got bears in your neighborhood too?
I was gonna say, like, either this will work or it will not. We'll find out.
How dangerous do you want to live?
I'd say a fair amount of danger, but like not too much. It's like the
So
discretion.
okay, so put the axe away. Got it.
Yeah, no axes. Maybe a hammer. Hammer too. Okay. So now what we can do is, where's our server?
I got a hammer here too. I got everything.
Nice. There we go. Okay, so sometimes you have to like restart the Docker daemon.
So Code Sandbox, is it just like Gitpod, or it's just developer environments?
Yeah, it's like micro VM. So you sort of create these isolated like Docker containers that can run your code for you.
Okay.
Or not.
But it literally is micro VM architecture, like Firecracker micro VM.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, micro VM is a lightweight type of virtual machine, yeah, they're just very efficient virtual machines that usually spin up very quickly and have a very small footprint. They do that with some kind of magic, I believe.
It is magic. I wonder if we imported it and it needed something.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Okay. Can we like undo this? Because what we could do is just recreate this again, which I think we might want to do.
All right, let's go for it.
And then we could just drag them individually. There's like no documentation about doing this, so we're gonna try to see if we can do this. Otherwise, we can use Replit. I sometimes alternate between them for Next.js.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing Replit as well, as again, that's been one that I haven't ever gotten around to. So
okay, so this is gonna start again. Yeah, I feel like sometimes they'll be doing maintenance in like the evening times, which is like when we're like working on this. So it's just like might be. We'll see. I'm going to. Yeah, that should be fine. So
now, how did you get the code in here? Did you upload it somewhere?
No, so this is just the template, like the starter.
Oh, so you launched it and had it, and so you're trying to rip it out and then import it so that you're at a base level. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. They might be doing some work on this right now.
All right, well,
Okay.
let's give Replit a try. Again, if we're just taking a look here, that's fine as well. But let's take a look at Replit, because I don't have any experience with it, and we can at least get some exposure to that one as well. That might be interesting.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to.
And what does Replit do that's really good? Is it just fast, or it has a nice UI, or?
A little bit of both. Like, it's kind of the same as Code Sandbox. So this is Replit. So when you want to, provision, like a repo, you could do like a template. So they have some like already created templates. But if you want to do like Next.js, you could do Next.js. I want to do app directory, yeah. And then private, create app. And then it looks a little bit different.
They even have an
here.
assistant here. That's interesting. Oh, well,
yeah,
I think that's the thing I heard, is that they have their that's why people were talking about them, about their assistant. It's one of the only ones I actually haven't checked.
Yeah, it can be very helpful. It actually has helped me with like debugging things from time to time. So this is Replit. And we're going to hope that this works. There we go. Okay, cool. So what I really like about these types of cloud environments is that, you have your files here, you can code here. So like if we wanted to code on this, we can like move stuff around, we can like bring routes here, and then it'll update over here. So like it's all kind of all in one. And I like packaging this type of stuff up. So you don't really like, is it running on this thing or running on this thing? Another thing that becomes really helpful for people is shells. So it's not like this is like devoid of doing things in the terminal. So you can like install stuff. You could also be running like another server like while this is running, which is like pretty cool. So I really like a lot of these like cloud environments to code in. Okay, so let's see if we can get our code imported over. So I don't know if you can see my screen, but there's like in the zip, there's like some components.
Yeah,
So
we only see the browser, but I see on components now, UI. That's
So
all
it
the shed
generated all
CN
of this
components.
components, which is kind
Yeah,
of
those are the
cool.
shed CN components. Yeah, but this is the base app that came with Replit. It's not the actual code yet. Over.
Oh, the components are so like the API. These parts came with Replit, but the
Oh,
components
sorry,
is now
but I'm just
from.
saying, like the stuff we generate in V0, we haven't imported those yet, eh?
No, just the components directory. So I'm gonna just start dragging and dropping these over. And then there was this hooks folder. So these were like some use mobile, use toast. It had a lib folder. And then it had this next config. But I don't think that we need to worry about that. That's this file. So these are just some settings. Actually, we might want to change it. I'm trying to see what the difference is here. That's the other one, but I don't think that we necessarily need this over this. There's just some settings that the VO created that's like user config, which like I don't know if we actually need that. So I might delete that. And then we'll just keep the regular settings. And then package.json. I'm just gonna put this in here just for an example purpose. So these were like, so what VO did was, or V0, it had hook form, it had radix, a bunch of stuff. So this is like UI libraries.
Yep.
So I might bring these over to this package.json. Because next is already copied, and then React DOM is already copied.
Hey folks, yeah, there was a bit of a bug, so Brian and I were just talking about it, and so now we're back. Apologies for the continuity issue there, but I was talking to Brian, and I was wondering if because we're looking at Replit, if we could drop stuff completely in here, or if there's a challenge with that package.json. So Brian, what do you think? Do you think that we can remove everything, drop our project that we downloaded there on the right-hand side, or do you think there might be a bit of a challenge?
Yeah, so we were kind of debugging some of that stuff. So we should be able to just like, so the way that Replit works is like it breaks up stuff in kind of like different ways. So we want to just replace that package.json. So if we drag it here, we're going to overwrite that file. If we go here, there's going to be this like date picker.
Yeah, I think we were looking at it, and so we when we downloaded it from V0, we were able to get it to run 100% locally, but there was one plugin it didn't like, and so we're ripping it out. Unfortunately, these tools, I mean, they're good, but unfortunately, they'll add all these plugins that we're not using. So Radix, I think Brian mentioned earlier, that is a UI kit. Is that right?
Yeah, and for components.
And so I guess you can bring whatever you want, but I guess what they do is they just bring everything, and maybe just to give you full coverage. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like a VO thing, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we're probably not using because the app is like pretty simple. So that might just be a default of like import all of the Radix stuff.
But
So we're just gonna
I know
delete
that one was giving us trouble there. So and so
Yeah.
right now you're just doing an npm install to see if it will take and update the node modules.
Yes. So fingers crossed. We know that we can run this locally though. So now we're just gonna see if basically if these packages. Okay. So there's no errors. You can also validate that there's no errors. That's good. Okay. So now we should be able to just port this whole thing over. So if I take app and I replace that here. So at the root level, you're going to say overwrite this file. We're going to say yes. So it's going to say, oh, we can't find the components. So then we're going to basically take everything else. We're going to copy components, put that at the same level as app. So now we've got our components here. And then we're going to need to like refresh it. Oh, there we go. It needs this other JSON thing. And then we're just going to copy everything else. There's just certain things that like package.json like lives down here. So we don't want to like copy everything. Copy hooks, copy lib. We don't need that. I don't think we need styles. Do we need Tailwind? Tailwind's already there. And we might need to stop it and then rerun it, I wonder. Let's see. Otherwise, we might need to switch out the Tailwind config. So we're just doing like some surgery here. Okay. And then, oh yeah, so we need to replace the Tailwind. So that's like the base class. We just are going to need to add in these files. So we're going to replace them.
Do you think we could just select everything but the package JSON, drag it in, and would that make it work?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like what we did. Yeah, I think we just need to let it.
Oh, there we
go.
There we are. Cool. So I mean, like we don't have an API hooked up to it. Well, I'm sorry, there is that API code. Where was it under? Was it app utils or something?
Yeah. I'm just trying to make the screen a little bit bigger. Let me. I'm just gonna go back and share my one screen, not my.
You got a nice monitor though.
Oh yeah, I feel like it stretches things out. It's like hard to see it. I'm sure for people.
I got the old boring non HD monitors. Or non 4K monitors. I think they're HD. They're just not 4K.
Hey, if it works, as they say. Yeah. So in the app, you're asking about the app. So we do have our utils. So if I was going to like make this like by myself, I would have made like an API route. So like I'm just like zooming here. So what it's doing is basically doing a lot of like client side code, which but then you could also specify use server. But I would like put this inside of an API route. It's just you can now specify use server, and then this will run server side code. So this is running that utils LLM.
Oh, so I understand that Next.js is both a front end and back end framework, meaning it can run client side in the browser or on the server side. Are you suggesting here that this code is client side? Is that what you might think, or is it server side? Because you said that there should be like API routes or something, and it's not doing that. But it says use server. Does that mean it actually is using the server?
It kind of depends on how you write your code. I just feel like for me, like if I'm trying to specify something that needs to run on the server, I'll usually do like app and then like have a subfolder called like API. And then what you do is you make you have like a name of your route, and then underneath that you would do route. So like for example, just to like put in perspective, so like if you did like API, right, you could do like
Oh, okay. So it's just a means of how you like to structure it, and you're just saying if you make it API, it'll be a lot more clear, like what's an API driven part.
Yeah, like you could do like route.ts, and sometimes that's just helpful to sort of think about like you make it. This is more of like a naming convention as opposed to other things. It's just like for me, I like to know that like all of my routes are here as opposed to like actions. Versus,
yeah, I've never seen actions as a naming convention, but it's just what V0 put out.
Yeah, I'm like that's like maybe that could be helpful for some people, but like for me, like
API was what I would, yeah, that's where I would want to find my API endpoints, like anything that's calling something that's server side. But yeah,
exactly.
it's really interesting why it might have done that, but I will never know
Yeah, we can't
unless we ask
exactly
for a
see
sell zero, but then we'll use up credits and or
it.
tokens. We
Yeah,
don't want to do
we
that,
can't
right?
do that.
So it's not that we can't
Not
find
unless
out.
we're
We
on a
don't want to
paid
use up our
plan.
tokens. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay, but I think that this worked. I'm going to just unshare my screen so that I can add my key in,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but I'll show you all like how to get to that.
I think I have a Grok account as well. And so while you're getting that set up, I'm going to go back and show my screen and I'll just show the Grok side of it as you're getting ready there. So if we go over
Okay.
to Grok, there's Grok, Grok, which is a Twitter thing, but this is Grok, GORQ.com. And there's even more than just this. But what Grok is it's just, it serves models and it serves it really fast. And if we go over to the dev console, you'll have to log in. I think I might have made one with Google before. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I have the option, I choose Google. If I don't, this might be the first time. And I'm in the system. It has a playground, just like any other kind of thing. I'll go gobbledygook, whatever I want. We'll submit it. It's going to say, you're crazy, Andrew. And it's going to come back here and says, it seems like you've entered a string of random characters. Is there something I can help you with? And I don't want to antagonize it too much. But on the left-hand side, we have API keys. And here I've generated a key. And so I can just delete this key. But I can also generate a new key. And I can say, vocab importer, right? I can do this here and I can go ahead and submit that. And so then I get a key generated out. And so this is all that Brian is doing on the back end. He's just getting his key ready. How's the key going? Is it slotted in?
Oh, yep. Yeah, I added it in.
Okay. But yeah, Grok, there's nothing special about it except that it's really fast. And it's very cost effective, or I mean, this one's free, but I actually don't know how cost effective it is. I shouldn't really speak to that, but I know that they're trying to get pay on demand. And but anyway, you can see it has a lot of models. So we have DeepSeek, Gemma, Distilled Whisper. That's for audio. We have Llama, Mistral. So a lot of interesting stuff there. But yep. I will just give Brian a moment here to get his screen going again here.
Oh,
but,
yeah, let me...
But it is really, really fast. So, like, I just remember every time I use it, it's like instantaneous. There's another one called like T3 I heard of today, but...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know much about it. I just saw it for like a second, but I don't know if it's a competitor to Grok. But there's a few. There's actually a special name for it was like T3.dev or T3 AI, but there's some kind of special name. Yeah, this person. Oh, you know what? It's the guy named T3 Theo. It's probably his product.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, no wonder it was junk. Okay, I was sorry. I was watching a video today, and he was talking about like how fast Google Gemma was, and then he showed a bunch of charts, and he didn't do any coding, and I was just like, he's like, I'm so impressed by this thing. And like, look at this chart and look at that chart. I'm like, okay, but show me building something. I don't care. But yeah, now that makes total sense. I didn't realize. Well, then I don't want to endorse that because I don't like there's too much fluff content there. But not trying to get into beefs, but anyway.
All right, Andrew, want me to screen share again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, now we go back to this.
But I know there's a name for these kind of, like, they are just AI inference platforms, but the fact that they're so darn fast, they actually have like a specialized name. I don't know what it's called.
I'm also gonna like bump this up a bit. Okay, cool. So for anybody that is working with API keys, one of the things that I really like about Replit is if you go to secrets. So I just clicked on this. They have tools.
Oh,
so
okay.
if you click on secrets, highly recommend this. So that's this window here, and you're able to just add in your key and then add in the value of that key, but it's hidden, and it gives you sort of an example of how to call it. But this is something where like you never want to hard code your API keys, like ever. That's like a big security no-no, because if you deploy this into production and then they can see the code, they'll just be able to like take your keys and then just start prompting. So imagine you have like a limited number of tokens, right? Now you're going to have even less because people are going to be like taking those keys potentially and like using them for their own API calls.
Hmm.
So
That makes sense.
this is a way where we can securely store our app secrets. You can also do like account secrets if you want. If you're building many apps and you just want like one grok, but this is just an app specific secret. So it's just in this little repository here.
And so I'm going to assume that gets loaded into the environment variables because it's doing process.env. And so the app's going to be aware of those, which is really, really nice. So yeah, it seems like Replit has more tighter integrations to have a more user-friendly experience or developer-friendly experience. And so it takes a little bit farther than some of the other ones we have seen, at least in our other boot camps here. So we have it installed. And supposedly, like, we haven't really audited the code, but we're assuming that when we put that text field box in, it's going to hit this thing. It's going to come back with something. So what do you think? Do you think we put something in that box and hit a button, see what happens?
I think so. It's either going
Okay.
to work or it won't. That's what one of my mentors always said. It will either work or it will not. So it's only one way to test.
And what category of or thematic category of vocab would you like to see generated?
What would be a good? Could we do like weather? I feel like
Yeah, if
weather
you
is
want,
like a good.
we can do whatever category you want.
Okay, I'm just thinking because I'm
category.
cold, so I'm thinking like, how do I say cold? That would be what I'd like to know. Okay, cool. And then something also that I'm gonna do is just bring the console down here. So one of the things that I like about this is like you can have your dev server below the app so that like as you're inspecting code, you can also see like what's happening. So if this were to error, we'll see why. So okay, moment of truth.
Hooray!
Okay, error
Well,
generating.
look, this
And
is what we expect the first go, right? Like if it worked the first time,
we did something wrong.
we'd be
Yeah.
out of a job, right? But
Failed to generate vocabulary. Interesting.
so it says failed to generate the code.
We can actually move the console.
Could we use the assistant?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we could actually. Let's see. So
My code don't work. I got an error. Like I wonder if it would. I wonder if it would know to look at the console. I would.
So something like that, I'd be like, I tried to click generate vocabulary like in my app, and the dev server gave a bunch of errors. Can you help me?
For those who don't know, right now it's late at night. So if I'm yawning, it's because we're having a late night coding session, a hackathon, if you will.
Oh yes.
So I'm just curious. Does it pick up console? So looking. Oh, it says reading 6 files, looking at the error logs. Oh, there are error logs. Okay. Oh, that's the problem. It's the border. It's the border class. No, it's not.
I feel like
But
we fixed that though.
well, if you go up to the console, back to the console there, maybe try copying the error there because I don't think it has access to the console. It's only looking at the files.
Low API key is missing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty clear then. I mean, did you have to like stop and restart it for it to take effect? The key that you put in?
I thought I did that, but yeah, we could also try that. It also did suggest like putting it in quotes, so I'm just wondering if that's something where like
shouldn't matter. Both syntaxes are valid. You got to take the period out in front of the end out of there, but they're both syntactically the same thing.
right.
All I can think of is that it's not. Yeah, like here it is. Well, hold on. Let's go back there for a second to that other one. It says Grok API key. I'm just looking for spell mistakes. I'm
right. Like,
but Grok API, Grok API. No, they're identical on both sides, right? So what I would probably suggest to do, if we go back to console for a second, this is going to expose your key, just so you know. So you'll have to rotate it out. But can we get another tab in console? Or is it just the one?
Yeah, I think maybe that was it. Let's just try running it. I'm just curious if that's gonna, if it really is not going to work. Okay, yeah, because it must be something about the key itself. We could try stopping it and restarting it.
Well, let's just open the raw server here, like wherever we can enter terminal commands. So let's just check to make sure that environment variable is loaded. Because if it's not loaded, it's going to keep complaining. So what we can do is type in env space pipe. It's an actual symbol. I know it's I don't know how to describe it. It's
Oh, wait a second. This.
Yes, that thing.
Yeah.
Pipe. That's what it's a pipe. There's so many things that could be a pipe on the keyboard.
Like vertical line.
Vertical pipe. Grep grep space grok groq. Yeah, and it just hit. Don't need to put the whole thing in. Just put it in grok because it will. That's what the grep's for, is to partially do it. And so it says environment updated reloading shell. So it didn't show anything. Let's just type in env now. It didn't show us anything, as if it didn't get set. So it should be in here somewhere. Let's go back and hit up again on the keyboard and get back to grok. There it is. So you know what I think is that the environment didn't have it loaded for some reason. I'm not sure. But now we'll clear it. So we know for certain that it's there. It's there. We can see it right there in our shell. So and you stopped it and restarted it as we were talking, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if we enter it again and try it again?
Yeah, let's try it. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this did more stuff though. So now it is calling the LLM. I don't think it was doing this before. Model not found. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting. So like,
so
chose that model, but I guess it's not like a VO chose that.
Yeah,
so...
yeah. It probably wouldn't know what the latest one is because it's out of date. But I guess we go over to Grok and go take a look. So
yeah, let's do it.
If you want, oh yeah, you got it. Perfect, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go over there and we'll see what models we have available. There's a lot. I know everyone's talking about Gemma right now. Some people like DeepSeek. I don't think it really matters which one we use. Maybe we'll try the Gemma 2-9B-IT. I'm not sure what IT probably stands for instruct. And so let's see if we can put that one in there and see what happens.
Yeah. Did it copy? Oh, nice. It did copy it to the clipboard.
Cool.
Go back here and then... Whoa. Okay.
But that means that the Grok key must be loaded now. Now it's just an issue of configuration of what it generated. Not our fault, but like we're here just acting as the fixers.
Yeah.
Cool. Another error. So we'll scroll up here, and our problem is a syntax error. Generating vocabulary element, syntax unexpected, something. So I think it has to do with the prompt document.
Right.
But it also says not valid JSON, so maybe what's being returned it can't parse. There, so we have that. It seems like it was something around there. Like maybe it was like line 20. The thing is that normally when you provide JSON structure, like this is a way you can do it, but it's not normally the way that you'd want to do it. And this is why I thought we might have a bit of an issue here, because I'm not sure how we could format it.
I'm just wondering if that, like, to have it return it in quotes. I don't know if that.
Well, I guess the question is like, where is it failing? Is it on the parsing of the return data? So if you go back to the code there for a second to the llm.ts, and we have the prompt on line 10, if we scroll down, it gets fed into line 26 to generate out the text and returns back a text. But what does that text look like before it parses line 32? Because if the text returned is not JSON on line 32, that's where it'd be throwing errors. So on line 30, we need to print out the stuff. Oh yeah, console log. Okay. And so let's see what it's actually returning, because maybe it's not JSON, and JSON structured is really hard to get it to do consistently.
Also, something that I do a lot is like, for anybody that's into debugging, I'll make stuff like this just so that it will it'll show in the terminal just a little bit more easily, to give it like a thick line.
The way I learned how to do that was back in like 97, because my mom used to write emails, and back then emails were all text basically. And so you had to come up with like creative ways to like break stuff up. So it's really bizarre that, I mean, it's not bizarre that we do encoding, but it's just like, it's bizarre. Like I picked up my patterns of how to make my decorators for separation based on how my mom used to write emails.
Oh no! Hey, again, like if it works, it works. Okay, let's try generating again.
I guess it auto reloads, so we don't have to do anything fancy.
Right? Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know. I
cool.
don't actually. Oh, we got
Oh,
back.
look, it actually made it. So it's doing that.
Well, we scroll up for a second here. We have, it says text JSON. Did you write that, or is that what it's outputting?
That's what it's doing.
So it's doing,
because it's text. So that's like the LLM response.
but I'm saying you didn't write the backtext JSON, right? It's outputting it, and so that's where it's messing up on the parsing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, the output looks really good, with the exception of that one issue, right? Error generating vocab. So maybe what we have to say, like, go back to the instructions and tell it not to do that, what it's doing. So it says generate at least 5 vocabulary items and wrap them in. I mean,
yeah,
that's not,
that,
but that's not what you even did, because those are triple backticks and yours are double quotations. But just take that part out and let's see what happens if you do that.
Maybe wrap them in a string.
Well, the thing is that you don't want anything wrapped. You want raw JSON back. So you don't want anything other than JSON back. Yeah, and nothing else. Yeah, and it's just be like, and nothing else. And again, like, this is why there's like other tools, like a tool called Instructor, but it's specifically for Python. And this is where it's like, even if you don't like Python, you're kind of forced to use it because a lot of the tooling is in there. Whereas like for JavaScript, it might not have it.
That did it. But that what you just said, that worked.
Hooray! Prompt engineering.
Woo!
Like,
that was pretty crafty. No, like, but I feel like that's something that a lot of people, like including myself, like struggle with, of like, how do you get a really good prompt and how do you work with these LLMs? So like that was really crafty, that idea of like explicitly calling it out like that, like you just said. That was like a very good tactic.
Well, you know, and the thing is, like, prompt engineering, there's all these in the bootcamp or the Gen AI Essentials, we covered like all these techniques like tree of thought and all these fancy terms. What really comes down to like people just writing whatever till they get their output. So there's no secret to it, but I got to coin my own phrase for whatever prompt engineering techniques that I use and make it.
It's like LLM whispering. I don't know. I feel like that,
exactly.
We can work with that.
But yeah, so now we have our output, and I guess the question is whether it actually looks good. Let's scroll up to the top.
Yeah, like, does that look good? Let me make this bigger so that it's easier to see.
I would say, is the Romaji correct? That's fine. I think the way that it probably needs a little bit more instruction to understand what's going on there, but I'm going to go take a look here. I'm just going to show my screen really quickly. You don't have to do anything. I'm just going to switch out here.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
But if folks are looking at my screen here, the output here is like, imagine you have the word E, right? E, which means good in Japanese, E. And you have yoi, means good as well. And so E has one character and two characters. And so these parts are breaking up each kanji and then providing this and then that. The reason we do that is because it has to do with that game Typing Tutor. In Typing Tutor, you're spelling every single letter, and that's why it has that mapping. It's specifically for that game. Now, we don't necessarily have to fix that, but we'll go another example here. We have isogashi, which means busy in Japanese. So here you have the first letter here, and this one is going to be isoga. Oh, does it really? No, that can't be right. Isogashi. Oh, maybe it is. Isogashi. This is really interesting because when I was talking to my Japanese teacher who showed up for our live stream, one question I asked was, can a kanji represent more than two sounds? And she basically said, I don't know. I don't think so. But then we have atarashi. That's so weird because I had Tim and I had my my actual Japanese teacher, and we couldn't think of any, but I've already found two where these have three kanas. So that's going to be really interesting for students that or boot campers that watch that. But anyway, that's the kind of structure we want to get back. I want to go take a look at back at Brian's screen here. And so the output is parts, and it shows the kanji, which is correct, and then romaji, and it says seku haru. That doesn't make any sense because at the top, if you see the top there, perfect, thank you. It says harure. You see the romaji? That's the Japanese, the English letters for the Japanese words hare, which is sunny, and that's correct. And then down below, it's showing the first kanji of that word and saying sekai haru. And I think what it's doing is it's giving us a literal translation of exactly that kanji, because kanjis can have multiple pronunciations, and it's giving us, I think, more than one pronunciation of it, which is not right. So this is where we need to fix our prompt engineering, and this is actually a perfect example. So can you copy? Do you see that part, that JSON? Copy that JSON, because we're going to tell the prompt to fix itself. So really, that mistake there, we want to copy that mistake where it from. I don't have a pen, but I would draw it out here on the screen. But Brian, if you could copy where it has, the curly, just one line up there. We don't have line numbers, so this is a bit hard to explain. But I apologize. But yeah, and go down where we have the romaji for the haru to the closing square bracket. Copy that, and we'll take that and bring it over back to our prompt document. And so, we need to, on line 23, we need to keep going down here. So we want to provide an example, and we'll just say, here is an example of bad output, right? And then we'll explain why it's bad. The reason that it's bad is because I like it gives like a generic. I swear,
the reason it's bad is because it's bad.
But you know what? There's gonna be so many like technical documents, reports of this stuff, because people are just gonna be like, "Oh, generate it out." But this is why we're here, to give it a good instruction. But the reason this is bad is because the parts of romaji that are shown do not represent the word. It's so instead of it listing seki space haru, it should just say ha, because that is what the kanji is representing for the word hare. And so sometimes you can give it a good example as well, where we can correct it, but this should be enough, because Gemma's supposed to be really smart, according to Google. And so I told you we'd use something other than AWS here today.
We are multi-cloud here. Let's go.
So we'll save that, and let's go see if our magic LLM whispering or prompt whispering works here, and we'll try it again. And so we'll just give it a nice refresh there to clear out our bottom, or hit the button again. I don't know. I guess you can just keep running it, right?
I think so.
Like it'll probably give slightly different results. Okay, ha, and it says haru. Why does it keep doing that? So this is where we need to give it a good example, because it's not listening to us. So let's go back to our LLM.ts. And this is the thing, is if you have a dumb LLM, you can make it real smart, but you just got to really tell it what to do. So here is the example of good output. And so we're going to copy the ones, yeah, exactly, and just take out the haru part, right? And so this is what we want. Now, because it will generate this word, it's going to be overfitted to always produce this correct one, but we'll see what it does with other ones. So that's why sometimes what you want to do is provide examples that aren't in the ones that are being generated out, so you know that it will work, but it should be fine. So let's go ahead and generate out our vocabulary again after we save here, and see if we get better results.
All right, so generate again. Oh,
good.
Okay, so that's ha.
But the other thing that's missing here, if we go back up, is that we have ha re, right? And so there are two parts to this. There's the first one and the second one, right? So let's go down and look at the next one. We almost got this working. We're only going to do so much here. We have ame, and we have but we don't have me. right? So it's still missing one of the parts. Let's go back over to our LLM. I remember we talked about the bad example. We got to expand about why the example is bad. Another reason the example is bad is it's missing the other part. So there should be two parts, one for Ha and the other one for Ray. Okay.
Am I getting that right?
Oh yeah, you got it. And so if you scroll on down there and look at our code here, we have we now need to put the other part in. So it's missing the other one. Yeah, exactly. You got it. And so we'll copy it in and put in Ray.
I'm really on autopilot, Andrew. I'm like trying to listen to you and like.
Oh, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Okay. Is that right?
No, that's exactly right. You're perfect. Yeah.
Okay. And then I like how you said like why you explain it. So this is a good output because the kanji consists of multiple characters.
So I know, because you don't know the Japanese language, but kanji refers to when the character it actually means Chinese character, and so Japanese is actually a mix of 3 different writing systems, if you can believe it.
Wow.
Yeah. So the thing is that this is a good output because the word represents each this is a good output because the word represents all the kanji and kana shown in the word, right? So kana is going to refer to Japanese native writing systems, and kanji is going to be the Chinese writing. This is why it's so hard to learn Japanese. You have to deal with 3 writing systems, and it's you should try it. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's very like intricate. I feel like as like programmers, we would probably find like language learning fun, you know?
Well, the really interesting about Japanese is that as from a technical perspective, it's really interesting because their language is really concise, and you can omit words that are already known in context, basically refactoring your sentences smaller and smaller as you're having a conversation. So like if we're talking here and we know that you are the topic, we won't keep mentioning you as the topic. People won't even mention. I don't know. It's really interesting, but
that is
cool.
The
time it takes to learn Japanese, you can learn Spanish, French, German. I don't know, like 5 languages. So I don't know. Maybe I should have chose differently, but I'm committed, so I'm going to stick with it.
Okay, cool. So does that make sense? This is a good output because did I capture that right? The word.
Yep, you got it. It's perfect. So what we'll do is we'll go run it again. Again, there's no crazy science to this. It's just, does it read like it makes sense? And then we just fiddle around until we get it to work. So go here and we'll scroll on down. We have Ha. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's there. Okay, right. Perfect.
Cool. And then rain.
Ah. That one didn't work out.
Okay, can we do like another example where like
so sometimes what happens is if you give it multiple examples, right? And so the code's a little bit long. Can we kind of like, I just want to show you my screen for a second. Can we I'm gonna go back and just show here. But I have mine a little bit more compressed, like in this way, and that way we can kind of get more examples, if you can see here.
Oh yeah, why is it making it so longer? I'm like, can we?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just how to output it, I think, because it probably used I don't know. But if we just format it a bit, then we can get a few examples. But it might need like 3 or 4 examples of good to know what good is, right? Or, you know what? Why don't I just give you some good examples, and then you don't have to.
Oh, that would help. Yeah, I wonder if it's using if ESLint, it's using linting. So I'm wondering if that's breaking it up so much.
I don't know.
But yeah, if you copy it into the chat, I'm happy to copy it in and give it a spin.
Yeah, and then we'll just say these are good examples, and maybe that will improve it. But again, we don't have to make it perfect here. We'll just do our best because boot campers, if you're watching, that's your homework. Get it to work. It's not a cop out. It's learning, folks.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead here. I'm actually going to give you 4 examples. I just feel really generous here today. It's actually not giving me all of the code I copied. So I'm actually going to drop it into a gist right now for you.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, just so that we're not missing any of that code there.
We
And
love a good gist file on GitHub. Oh, thank you.
by the way, gists are not private, no matter what, but they are secret. There's a distinction there. It's just hard to find, like unlisted links. So this one has multiple good examples, and so we say like, here are great examples where it shows all the parts properly broken up. And if it still doesn't like it, then I don't know. Gemma's not as good as Google says.
They need to go back to fine tune it. They missed some things.
But this is what it was, a 7 or 9 billion parameter model. There's way bigger ones out there, so they probably perform better. But these smaller models, they can do this, but you do really have to give them a lot of good examples. And what we're actually doing right now is providing it something we call few shot. Few shot meaning providing multiple examples of what we want as expected output. Oh yeah, your screen. Oh no, I'm sharing. So I'm gonna get my screen out of the way here. I'm gonna bring yours on back up here. Perfect. Sorry.
Cool. I just copied in what you had and then I replaced it. So these are great examples broken up. That's all there. All right, let's moment of truth.
Please, 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 please.
Oh, wait a second. That's
can we just give it a hard refresh and just restart just in case?
So I got the hot ray and then rain.
Well, you know what? Rain, if we go back to rain for a second. The Ame.
Wait, where's rain? Where's
I think it was the second one.
Oh, there we go. Okay, there it is. It's like, where
that one. That one's correct because there's only a single kanji and it represents both the sounds. So that one's actually correct.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool, I don't know if it was right before, but I think it's because I'm tired. I think you're probably tired too, but I think I'm getting tired, and so I'm.
No, I think it improved it because it's like this. This is a single kanji, right? So that it works.
That's
with
correct.
Both.
That's correct. Yes.
Oh.
Yuki.
Okay.
I know that one really well because I have a lot of snow, and every day I have to do some yuki yaki. What is it? I guess I don't know it anymore. But the word for shoveling snow is really funny. I like it. Let's see.
I had to do that a lot these past couple weeks. That word is top of mind for me. Shovel
snow is, yukikaki. Yeah, yukikaki. Yukikakimasu. There we go. I thought there was more kakis in there, but no, it's just the one. But yeah, we basically have our functioning app here, and we can just copy and paste it. Now, you can take this further. The way you can take this further is we could integrate it into. We could have another button that, like, if this lived beside our app, we could say go write an SQL thing to insert into the SQL database, or go trigger another action. But in terms of what we want to do, that's as simple, right? And that's all we wanted to do here today. So I guess my question to Brian is, are you convinced that are you convinced with Google Gem? Is this something that you want to use in the future? You're happy with it, or sticking with Amazon Noma Premium, Nova Pro? I can't remember the name of it.
I mean, I'm pretty impressed with this. I think one of the things that's interesting, though, right, is that we did need to do the few shot approach to give it examples. And I do wonder if we took if we took like a bigger model and then actually trained it on like a language set, or we just took JSON and then did like a fine tuning approach. I wonder if that would work, because otherwise, like, if I could just take like a smaller LLM like this, give it some examples, and then get the output, I feel like that would save us so much money, because to actually train a model is crazy expensive. So I'm like, if this smaller model can get me what I want and I just need to give it a few examples, I'm like, I would use this LLM for sure. And look at how fast Grok worked. I mean, like, as soon as we prompted it, it was already done. So like
the train of thought that you just described is exactly where everyone mind goes when they use these smaller models, and go, can I fine tune them? Which is really interesting that we don't see a lot of people showing off the use case, because you have to build one out to do it, but it totally is possible. And we're going to do it right now. I'm just joking. But Fine tuning might take as long as this, but yeah, that's the thing is like, but you might be surprised. Like you might be able to get a 1 billion parameter model to do this, right?
Mhm.
But again, you have to provide enough examples. But then you're making for a very specific use case, like this exact use case, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe 200, 300 samples trained within 20 minutes for $5 might produce the result that you want. But again, it's going to
Exactly.
be a model just for this one task, right?
And we could use an LLM to make example data. So I feel like now that we have like a good example of this, maybe we could look at like if we said like generate like hundreds of these or something like that, and we test one in every like 5 or 10 or something like that. Um, that's how we could generate like our example testing set and then use that to train it. But
Synthetic data generation is like a perfect use case of it. Like bigger
yeah,
models, get the bigger models to do the heavier lifting. The only thing is that when we're looking at Japanese, and if we're structuring this language, a language has a certain amount of words. So like if you learned all like 5 to 10,000 words, you basically hit everything. So you could also just theoretically generate it out once and have it all.
yeah,
But there are 50,000 words in total, or if you wanted to change the schema a bit, or if you wanted to work with another target language, then maybe that utility is there. Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
yeah.
And Mhm.
And I like our app. I mean, like I was just showing like the fact that I was able to copy this to my clipboard and then just copy that. So like I can comment this like on your gist here. So like kind of cool. And we were able to work on this and build an app within what about like less than an hour, which
Very quickly, yeah.
I'm trying to think like how long do you think this would have taken us if we didn't have LLMs like AI like
Oh,
hours
the
probably,
manual process? I don't know. Like, it's still kind of possible. Like before LLMs, there are NLP tools or like word, like specifically tools that are not using LLMs to match words. But the problem is that if you hit, let's say, slang words,
right? Mm-hmm.
they like if it's a dictionary word, other ones that have no LLMs could handle it. But if you had to handle like slang, like I was trying to watch a movie called Weathering with You,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a Japanese film. It's this one. Anyway, they're very good movies where they have a lot of common vocabulary in them. And so when I took the subtitles, I actually tried to generate this out not using LLM, and it horribly failed because of all the slang. Because in Japanese, they'll leave out words or just like in all languages, right? But they do it a
Yeah,
lot
sure.
more because they like to make things very concise. And so it didn't work. Whereas an LLM could not only handle dictionary terms, but even slang terms and figure out like if something was introduced even one time that they could kind of figure it out. Whereas the
Mhm.
other ones can't figure them out. So and yeah, the time to do that would be manual process, right? You'd literally have to manually do it. And I actually did do it. So I can tell you that I was going through a movie and like manually processing it. And if you have a movie that's 1 hour, it's like you have one movie that's 1 hour, it might take you 10 hours to go through it, right? Where this is 1 hour and you can use it on infinite amount of movies, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever your use case is. So
No, 100%. But I'm happy with our app. This is pretty cool.
cool. Well, I appreciate you coming out here and showing us how we can build it. And now I know what Replit is, so I have no more excuses. I can go ahead and give it a try here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I hope it warms up where you are. I can't imagine it being cold, but
Oh, goodness gracious. It's getting colder by the week, let me tell you. Oh gosh.
how low did it hit?
The coldest that it's gotten to recently was 13, but it did get to 10 degrees about
13?
like several weeks ago.
Is that 13 Fahrenheit?
Ooh, Fahrenheit to Celsius. I don't know.
Oh, so you
Think
hit
like
so if it was 13, but that's what you measure in Fahrenheit?
yeah.
Okay, so that's -10. Okay, that sounds cold.
Yeah, it was not pleasant, let me tell you. Like it's like it hurts your face, that level of cold. And it's like, oh, you gotta like get some hot chocolate and like put that on your face for like hours.
Well, don't go outside.
Yeah,
Don't go
I was gonna
outside,
say I'll stay
Brian.
in here coding.
Yep, yep. And yeah, I appreciate your help here, and we'll all see you soon, boot campers in class. And yeah, we'll all see you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Andrew.